Look who the damn wind done blew in here.
Yes.
Conversations with TinBridge. We got a
Yes.
very, very special guest, somebody that I go all the way back with.
Way back.
My God, I mean, and she came from we both came from the hood. We both came from nothing. But Teresa has went way further than me or what I can even imagine she would go. Like she exceeded, no, straight up. She exceeded everybody's expectations and she's killing it. So man, I'm just so thankful to have you here sitting with us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here and honored to be here.
Oh, you for
yes,
real?
I feel like I'm in a part of a major movement right now. So I can be like, okay, Dave, you know what? Listen, I was with you when you first started, okay? Because I know this is going to be huge. I can feel it. I already know.
Hey, listen, y'all. I called Teresa. I said, hey, I got this show I'm doing, and she said, what kind of show? You know what I'm saying? Because, see, she professional for y'all, but with me, she can be down to earth.
Yes,
she said, what kind of show you got? And I said, man, I got this show. I want you to be a guest on it, blah, blah, blah. I said, hey, can you come on it? She said, well, I'm going to put you in contact with my schedulers. Oh, my
God. No way.
Because they got to check my calendar to make sure. But I should be able to make it,
No way. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
No, she kept it real with me. She was like, when?
Yes. Well, Dave, you're a good friend. You and Bridget. So anytime you ask for anything, I'm here for y'all anytime. So it's my honor to be here today.
Okay, you said me and Bridget. Which one of us a better friend?
I'm going to go with Bridget. I know. Ladies, we got to go the same way.
Ladies, so I'm going to roll with
Bridget. Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure.
Bridget going to see this afterwards. She going to be like,
right, we here, Bridget. Listen, we here.
So let me ask you some questions, man. Well, the first
Absolutely.
I want to start off with, do you remember when we met?
Yes. We grew up in the same church. Same church. Yes. So
we was trying to follow the Lord.
Yes, follow the Lord. Yes.
Stay out of trouble.
Yes, and both of our parents, I believe, were like in church every Sunday. A lot of times on Bible study, and then all the other. So anytime the church doors was open, I believe both of our parents was there, which kept us there. So
absolutely. And I used to look forward to seeing you whenever you wasn't there Sunday. It wasn't the same because Teresa has this energy. Like she's extremely energetic, extremely happy. Even if she's going through something, you wouldn't be able to tell, and it's hard not to be infected by that.
Yeah,
so whenever you wasn't there, it just kind of the temperature just dropped. You know what I'm saying?
Oh wow! Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Man, so what was it like growing up in the church?
It was interesting because like I said, we were in church every time the church doors open. And I don't know if a lot of you guys remember, but back in the day, it was Sunday morning service, Sunday night service, Wednesday Bible class, Friday. So it was like every time you get ready to play with your friends, it's like, we got to go to church.
Right, in the middle of the game. I'd be in the middle of a basketball game. David, like, Mom, I just got 6 more points. Yeah.
You have time to go to church. Yeah. So you already know how that grew up. But I'm happy now because it built such a foundation for me because my faith is strong and just my relationship with God is strong. And I'm sure that had a lot to do with it. So, yeah. Back then it was rough, but now I can appreciate it.
Now, you were going to Cody High at that time, right?
Yes. Yep, Cody. I graduated from Cody, west side of Detroit, Cody Comets. Y'all came out in 2001.
At that time, what were your career aspirations?
Oh, believe it or not, I wanted to be a social worker. I always... Which now I look at it, I definitely couldn't handle that job, because I wanted to do the type of social work where, if the kids were being abused, you took the kids from the abusive environment. But now I just can't stop. I'll get too emotionally attached to that. So shout out to the people who do that because it takes strong will and just big time faith to be able to do a job like that. So shout out to people who do that because I definitely couldn't do that nowadays.
Facts. I mean, it takes a certain kind of person and it's hard not to carry that home with you.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. And that's where I would have definitely went wrong with that profession. So, but not really having a structure or knowing what type of thing that I wanted to do back then, I just went with that, but really it wasn't what was destined for me. So
got you. So you didn't end up taking the traditional route that everybody said we should take. You didn't go to college,
No,
right?
I didn't. I tried college.
You tried it?
I tried college. So right after high school, it was the thing to do. And I was just in a space where I really didn't know what I was doing. I had all these friends who had plans and things situated for them and all that. And I didn't have a plan. Like it hit me when I graduated high school school. And I got in the parking lot. I'll never forget it. And I got in the parking lot and I'm like, wait, ain't nobody checking for me tomorrow. Like, I'm not about to be late to class.
Damn.
I don't have a plan.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like reality hit right then and there at the parking lot at the high school. And I was just like, everybody was going their which way. And I'm like, I'm literally not going to see these people in a structured environment ever again.
Damn.
You know, so I had to kind of like figure it out. So I did a year of community college.
Okay.
Did
just
that.
And that was more so just to figure out what you wanted to do.
Yeah, that was just, I didn't know at the time. I'm social workers in the back of my head, but I'm just following the course. You know what I mean? Like, you graduate high school, you go to college. So at least I'm doing something. You know what I mean? And then from there, I just did that for I lasted about 6 months to a year in that. And then I just grind and worked from there, you know, just kept little odd and end jobs from there.
I think that's dope because, you know, it's always better to be doing something than to not be doing anything at all. Even if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, you're still moving towards something, right? Yeah. And then the other thing is, you know, college it's not for everybody. There was a lot of people who went to the college that I went to and they might have got in, you know, maybe off of affirmative action or whatever the case may be, but they wasn't necessarily ready. Right. And I don't know why maybe their parents didn't encourage them to do junior college first and then transfer. Because once you go out into the world and interview for a job, they're not looking at your junior college. They're looking at where you got your degree.
Absolutely.
And so many people went to a certain level that they wasn't ready to be at and it killed their confidence. Yeah. And it's like it don't mean that one person is less smart than the other. It just means that we have different paths and different maturation processes.
Absolutely.
And with you, I think that says a lot that you didn't try to necessarily, you know, I don't know, maybe do something that was unattainable. It was more like, I'm going to stay where I need to be and try to figure this thing out at my own pace.
Yes. And that's exactly what it was. So,
and you worked a lot of jobs. So what were some of those jobs you worked?
Well, I truly think that God was shaping me because like majority of the jobs that I worked, David, was retail. Retail, believe it or not, I have a retail background. Yeah. One thing about me, and even my husband and people tell me I have the gift of gab. You know what I mean? Like, I know.
Listen, let me hold on one second. We're going to get back. I'm going to tell you right now. What's that Jay-Z line? I sell ice in the winter. I sell fire in hell.
Right.
Teresa is a hustler. She can sell water. I done went into her store, and we're going to get to where she's at today because she's killing the game. Yeah. But I went in her store. I just went in there I'm like, let me just go say hi to Teresa. Yes. Next thing you know, I spent $200-$300. Hey, Dave, you know, Bridget gonna like this, Dave. Try this on. Grab that. Oh, yeah, that's gonna look good. You see that color? Yes. I'm like, damn, how did I spend on, you know, whatever. Right. But anyway, so you worked retail jobs.
I worked retail jobs, yeah. So all pretty much from, I'm gonna say about 15, because I always kept a job even when I was back in high school. I kept a job. 15 to where I am now, I always kept some type of sales job. You know what I mean?
And you didn't even know where you would end up, but it was preparing you for that.
I did not know. Didn't have a clue where I was going to end up at. And it's just now when I look back on my story, I'm like, it was shaping me, you know? So even though I'm working these little retail jobs, I didn't realize it was shaping me for who I am and what I, you know, have today.
Oh,
and plan on getting more too. So let me throw that out there.
Oh yeah, definitely. She taking over Detroit.
Keep growing, absolutely.
Sure. So now, okay, you work in these retail jobs, right? You always were the type of person who, you know, just dated one at a time. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't that way. Listen, I wish I would have had more men, you know, to encourage me to date one at a time, right? You know, to pursue meaningful relationships, but that didn't happen. And and again, you know, I ended up getting married, and all of that stuff that you experienced in the past, you can't just cut it off like a light switch. Right. You know, you kind of take it with you, and now it becomes exponentially harder to reverse engineer the problem. But you always try to do things the right way. Yes. Right?
Yes, I did.
One at a time. And then you get to the point where, well, when did you meet your husband now?
So I actually met my husband now a week after I graduated high school. Yeah, so I was at a carnival, at a local little carnival, and he approached me. He tells the story totally different, of course, but
I need to hear it. And then I want to get his version.
Right, you need to get his version. He swore I was staring at him, but I didn't see him.
You were staring
no, I wasn't staring. And so he came over to approach me, and it's so crazy because we had a little breakups here and there, but we never really been apart for what it's been about 20 years now.
Whoa.
So yeah, 20
Teresa, you only
years.
like 29.
I know, right? I know, right? So I met him when I was 6. So, no, I'm joking.
So 20 years?
20 years.
Whoa.
And we've been married for 14 years. Yeah, so I've been married for 14 years this year. So
okay, so
Yes.
who encouraged you to pursue relationships the way you pursued them growing up? Pursuing meaningful relationships.
Yeah, you know what? It wasn't really. I come from my mother. She was a single parent growing up, and just watching the things she went through and watching her struggles. I just knew I didn't want that for myself. So I would, and instantly, like I was the type of girl where within the first week, if it wasn't vibing or if you wasn't right, I was just like, I cut you off quick. Real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't call my phone no more. I mean it. Don't call, like, don't call my phone anymore. You
didn't waste time.
I didn't waste time.
Yeah.
I didn't waste time. So, and my husband, he was always ambitious and always showed potential.
That's
you know
the
what
next
I mean?
question I had.
Yeah.
Is since it was hard for people to even get through to you because you had a really tough weed out process, what made him the one? You know what I'm saying?
It was his ambition, and I always knew he wasn't in the streets. You know what I mean? I knew I didn't want that for myself either, because I've had friends and people I know who've been at the wrong place at the wrong time with a guy. So I knew I didn't want that for my life. You know what I mean? Because tragic things can happen when you're in that lifestyle. So I just knew I didn't want that for myself. So when I seen that he worked an honest job, and my husband, he's 4 years older than me. So I was 18, he was 21. So he kept a job. He was making honest money, just showing growth. Even at that young age, I was like, okay, this is somebody who, even at my age at 18, I just knew that this was somebody who could potentially go somewhere. We could go somewhere together. You know what I mean? So that's how it happened.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot here, right?
Yes, go ahead.
As far as being in a relationship, being married, name me your biggest strength. Yours.
Mine's, in a relationship would have to be that I'm very loyal and I'm very understanding and forgiving at times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So what would be your biggest weakness?
My biggest weakness is that a lot of times I am the one who's ready to throw in the towel. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I can get so mad that I'm like, I'm done. I'm just done. You know what I mean? But marriage is not, and I'm learning that you can't always go to that as the alternative. Every argument doesn't have to be, I'm done. You know what I mean? And that's a struggle, because that, like I said, I've always been that girl that's just been like, okay, this ain't going right, so I'm just done. You know what I mean? And so that's one of the things that my husband has actually taught me is to.
So that's where he's strong.
That's where he's strong.
So in the beginning when y'all met, every little thing you like, I'm out of here. He would find a way to reel you back in.
Exactly. Yeah, I broke up with my husband. Like, like, no lie, he don't even tell you. I broke up with him at least 10. Oh, I can't even count, Dave.
Damn.
Like, it's been times, and his consistency and his persistency is just the reason why we're together today, for sure. Like, without a doubt, shadow of doubt in my mind, if he wasn't persistent, because when I tell you, Dave, I used to be like, okay, I'm done. It's over.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? But he's just very persistent, and I think he just knew what he wanted and knew, how, he wanted us to be, and he just stayed consistent and persistent, and that's how we ended up being.
20 years later.
20
I
years
tell
later.
people all the time, like, it's because you don't want to necessarily, or at least it's not the best idea to date you all over again.
Absolutely.
Of course you're going to have some common interests
Yeah.
where it really matters, but to be different in certain ways helps too,
Absolutely.
because that kind of fosters growth in a relationship.
Yes, it does.
Because they can point out your inadequacies and you can point out theirs, because they're strong where you're weak,
Yes.
and vice versa, right? So
Yes.
I think that's dope. The other thing
Yes.
is that I was talking to a friend of mine not too long ago, and she was just like, yeah, I'm just kind of ready to just, blah, 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 throw in the towel, because it's almost like I'm just, I might as well be by myself.
Yeah.
He don't lead the way I want him to.
Yeah.
He don't pay all the bills, this, that, and the
Yeah.
third. And I asked her, I said, well, what's the biggest benefit you think to being married is? And she was like, well, I guess having a partner who's going to make life easier for you. I said, well, yeah, that's something.
Right.
But my biggest benefit, I'm speaking personally, is
Yeah.
having somebody who can contend with me, somebody who's holding me accountable.
Yes.
Somebody who I
Yes.
respect, who's holding me accountable. It's like this.
Yes.
You can I'm trying to think of a really good example of this. It's almost like if I go into a dealership and I buy a car. The reason why I'm buying that car is so that I can get from point A to point B.
Right.
All the bells and whistles and shit, gotta have a CD player or CD player. That's back in the day. But gotta have all of these things.
Yeah.
Those are nice to haves. But the biggest benefit is to get from point A to point B. And I feel like the biggest benefit in me being married is that Bridget has contended with me in a way that has helped me get from point A to point B. TinBridge.
Yeah,
she's the bridge.
Right.
She's the bridge, right?
Yes,
so anyway,
that makes perfect sense.
But does that make sense to you too?
Absolutely. And I feel like with men, that's what y'all look for, is that, person that's going to help you grow, and the person that's really going to, like you say, hold you accountable for things. And that's where we come. I think most women's strengths are that, you know what I mean? Because we're not going to let too much slide. Yeah, we ain't going to let too much slide. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if I'm especially the type of woman I am, if something bothering me, I'm going to say it. You know what I mean? And I'm going to let you know you wrong for this or you right for it. This is good. I'm going to let you know the good and the bad. It's not just, all because sometimes you get in a position where you feel like, man, all she do is nag. But no, I'm going to let you know when you're doing good, and I'm going to let you know when you're doing bad.
But see, that's also a big thing, because some relationships, they just want to like avoid the conflict.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want all the smoke.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Over the years, I had to be better about how to approach an argument,
right? When
to approach an argument. But I never want to just avoid the argument, because that thing could amplify over time, and then it can come up and bite you in the ass when you least expect it.
Absolutely.
Too. So what you just said is important.
Absolutely. Not letting things snowball is definitely important, because sometimes it could be something that's just ticking you, then something else ticking you, and before you know, it's like a number of things, and then when you do explode, you just explode because you don't let these number of things that's been just nitpicking at you. Now it's big. It done turned big, and now you just ready to blow up the spot,
blow
or whatever, blow up the whole spot.
And then it's unfortunate if you now you got a house together, y'all got kids together, and then you want to blow up the house.
Exactly.
Like, damn, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So y'all ended up having your son. I just saw these prime pictures. I mean, listen, ladies. I think he might be in a relationship.
Yeah,
right?
he is. He got a girlfriend.
Right.
My son, he's actually been with his girlfriend for 1.5 years. That's pretty long for high school. Yeah. He's been with his girlfriend for 1.5 years. Isn't that insane? In high school,
Whoa.
1.5 year relationship.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But it kind of speaks to the job that you and your husband have
exactly.
done.
And that's the type of guy, my husband, he always have kept a relationship. Now, he been done dipped and did a couple times in the relationship, but he always mainly kept a girlfriend. So I think my son just taking up on his father. So
yeah. No, I mean, absolutely. I mean, hey, we've all fell short.
Yeah.
But I think just having the ideal to strive for, and for me, the ideal is being able to be a husband who is faithful to my wife.
Yes,
It don't mean that people don't fall short, but at least have that ideal.
Absolutely.
I'll be around some people who do it, and they be like, man, she ain't going nowhere.
And that's
like,
crazy.
You don't think that's
crazy.
wrong?
But that's the thing, is men think that, but sometimes when you get that comfortable to think that, and she does, then what? Because one thing about women is we gonna unattach emotionally before we leave physically.
Ooh,
you know what I mean?
That's a bar.
So we can be in the house acting like everything is good, but the whole time I got an apartment lined up over here. So just know, don't feel comfortable because you're doing what you're doing and thinking that she'll never leave, because she will, and then it's done. Once it's done, it's done. Once women emotionally unattached, it's done. Yeah. And that's just a fact. It's a fact.
So y'all always like 5 steps ahead of us.
Yeah,
when we think we doing something.
Oh yes.
You
like the bag's already in the box. The box is already in the garage. Listen, my bikes keep on falling because Dave got me laughing so hard. But the box is already in the garage. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where, don't get too comfortable, you know? So yeah.
So now, your son, again, 18-year-old, handsome, he's a stud, absolute stud. Thank you. Right? So what were some of the challenges, because we know what some of the challenges were prior to y'all having kids, right? Obviously. But what were some of the challenges once y'all had a son?
Because I had my son when I was 19 years old. I was young. Mm-hmm. So
you was like baby boy, right?
Yeah, I was
only married. And,
Yeah, so we was kids. He was 22 at the time, and I'm 19. So, I it was a lot of challenges as a young mom, you know what I mean? Because you got to figure it out. Everybody not going to keep your kid, and you can't go with your friends to the club this weekend. And, just the usual things that a young teen mom would face, you know what I mean? But one thing about it is that I knew I wanted to be a great mom to my kid. You know what I mean? I kept my son clean. It may not all have been name brand this and name brand that, but I kept a fresh, clean baby. You know what I mean? And so I did just the best I could, and, you know, kept a job even with him, you know, just figured it out with daycare and things like that. And plus by my husband, he worked too. So we would just figure out the daycare thing and just did what we could at such a young age, you know.
So whenever disagreements will come up where, like, let's say, I don't know, what elementary school should he go to, or, you know, should we put him in little league football?
Yeah.
Or, you know, you might feel one way and your husband feels the exact opposite way.
Right.
How do you work through that?
Well, a lot of times, because my son by him being a boy, I knew that sometimes I had to take a back seat because he can teach him, even at a young age, how to be more of a man than I could. You know what I mean? Yeah. So even though, you know, because I'm very opinionated, and so a lot of things, you know, even as my son grew older, not just as a baby, but it was a lot of things sometimes, and I'm like, man, it's like boot camp around here. I used to call my I used to call him Joe Jackson. I'm like, you.
See,
I'm like, you like Joe Jackson around here, but
you know, Joe was waking them up in the middle of the night.
Man, Joe was something else.
Because they had a towel near the pool. I'm like, Joe, they sleep.
Listen. So at times I would get mad at my husband, like, you ain't nothing but Joe Jackson around here. But as my son has turned into it's like things at the time when you see what it was and how he was teaching him, it was like I knew I had to. It didn't make sense at the time, but then always in the back of my head, I knew I had to allow certain things because he's teaching him how to be a man, how to be responsible, and things that I could, because I grew up without my father. You know what I mean? I never had my father around, so I knew that I'm like, okay, it's just things that I've never seen that I know that I have to allow to happen. So that was very challenging. Yeah.
See, that's the importance, right? Because Bridget did the same thing with me, you know, while we raising Langston, but it's a little less of it because she grew up and she saw that example. So even if she didn't agree with me, she understood the utility of it. She respected the value of it.
Yes, that's
you get what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
So I think that's even more difficult when you don't have that example and you're navigating that space to try to figure out what makes sense.
Yeah,
but it just speaks to your level of humility, your ability to be led when you know somebody else might be more versed in this particular area.
Absolutely.
Like, it speaks to you.
Absolutely, yeah, because my husband, he actually grew up with both of his parents, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And, you know, and not everybody, even the parents that you grow up with, even though they're together, it's not the perfect picture, but I think we both knew what we wanted for our lives and what we wanted it to look like, you know, as we grew older and just learned from, you know, trial and error, you know, so that's definitely what we tried to apply to our life, you know.
What's your husband's name?
His name is Gary.
Gary, thank you. Yeah. Shout out to Gary, man. We don't, you know, we got to give strong men credit when they deserve it, and we got to take it back.
Yes.
Hold on, because you was about to tell me how y'all met and how you were staring at him from across.
Oh my God.
You was just, you know, just looking at him, and he was just like, yeah, what's up, girl? What you want? You know, damn, you know. Yeah. All right, maybe I'll give her my number. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to know what happened.
Okay, so you want to know at the event what happened? Okay, so we're at the carnival. And it's a funny story, actually. I'm gonna make it long story short, but I was in line to buy a elephant ear, and the lady let somebody cut in front of me, right? So I told my best friend, I'm like, I got off the line because I was angry because the lady let somebody cut, and I was telling my best friend, I was like, Toy, I really want that elephant. And she like, okay. She like, all right, give me your money. I'm gonna just go get it. I said, get me an elephant ear, give me a Coke too. Okay, so she in line. She in line, and I'm sitting on the bench waiting for her, and that's when my husband walks by. So him and his friends, they walking by, and then he comes out of this. I didn't even see him, honest to God.
You didn't notice him?
I didn't notice him. He comes out of this crowd of guys, because you know at the carnival it's crowded back then, 2001. You know how the carnival.
It was, yeah.
So he walks over and he's like, you know, hey, my name's Gary. You know, can I get your number? Bye, bye, bye. And then we didn't have back then. You know, you didn't have the phone. You had pen and paper. It was pen and paper. You know, I'm ancient. I'm telling my age a little bit. So we walked to the car, and we walked to his car, whatever, so he can get his pen and paper. My friend, she's with me. The pen and paper, the old school. So then he gets the pen and paper, write my number down, and then the rest, you know.
It was something about him that made, because you would have just rejected somebody right then and there. But I mean, was it just his approach? Maybe?
It's his approach. He was very modest, like his posture when he sat down. He was more like just a chill, you know, like his mannerisms. I was just like, okay, this guy, he cool. He ain't rah rah, you know. A lot of times guys' approach is rah 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 all in your face, you know. But his approach was very calming, very just just smooth, and it was just like, okay, well, you can get my number. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
So,
Well, it worked out for the both of you,
yes,
man, for sure. Y'all made the right decision.
Yeah,
20 years later,
20
they
years
still together.
later, yeah, absolutely.
So let me ask you this. Now you married, you got a son, y'all doing a great job raising them the best y'all can.
Thank you.
At what point did it hit you? Did your purpose hit you?
I'm gonna say about 2010, right before I opened my store.
Right before you opened your store.
Opened my
so
store.
How did that happen? I need you to detail. How did it happen? Yeah.
Well, let's see. How it started was okay, I'm gonna go back a little bit. I always worked retail. So a form of selling, I started doing mortgages, so I started getting people to refinance their home. That's another form of selling, you know what I mean? Trying to get people to refi. And then when the mortgage industry crashed,
this was like 2006 to 2008.
When Obama was in office, when it crashed, I was in the midst of that. So my whole world just, crashed upside down. I went to the job. They like, yeah, everybody going, you know what I mean? Like executives, presidents, everybody losing their job, in the mortgage, the industry that I was in.
Damn.
So I just remember calling my husband, crying. I was just boohooing. I'm like, yeah, they done fired, let everybody go. So it was just devastating. He like, Teresa, don't worry about it. We're going to figure it out. Okay.
And you were a pretty hard worker. So that might've been the first time that you ever was faced with that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Cause I always kept a job. Always, never in a point in my life that I can remember me not working. Because I would always leave a job, go have another one lined up.
Gotcha.
Whatever. So what happened was we had started getting into the mortgage industry. So we started buying houses in Detroit. So we was buying a little 4,000 and 5,000. So we took started taking advantage of the houses being as low as they were. So by the time we got to like our fifth property, because we were, literally.
Wait, hold on. Oh, wait, my mama and I know your mom gonna be. Wait, hold on. Because my mom was like, you better not, make sure you ain't cussing up there with Teresa like you do with the other guests. So wait. You said 5 houses in a span of how long?
In a span of about 6 months to a year. Because what happened was, if I'm not mistaken, what my husband did was very smart. He took out a 401k loan so we could buy the houses. So he took out a 401k loan. Yeah.
Gary? You next on this show.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to have them on. Our story is just, it's like you live it, but when you think back to a time, it's like, I can't believe we was doing that.
To take them risks.
To take the risk. We were taking risks. We were taking big risks. Wow. Okay. We were taking big risks. And so we just kept, we were doing rentals. So we would just get, so he would do that residual income as opposed to flipping it. Yes, exactly. So we kept it, residual because you couldn't really sell. It was only like the market was still bad. So even though we're buying, we can't sell them because it's not going to sell for anything. So we're going to rent them out. You see what I'm saying? We'll make money that way.
And then when the market go back up, maybe we'll decide to sell something.
Exactly. And that's exactly what happened. So with that, his job was to get the houses up, ready, repair them. And then my job was to find the tenants.
Yeah.
So I did all the background checks, all that. So we kind of had like a little partnership. Hey, the house is done. Put it on the list. Put it on the market. I put it on the market. Then I find the people, do all that stuff. So
the difference between people who are extremely successful like you and Gary and those who aren't are those who seize the moment when times are extremely tough, right? Because if you're going through a time like that, and who knows, we might be approaching another time like that based on what's happening today in the world.
Absolutely.
Like people who aren't necessarily successful, right? They're looking at that and they're like, oh, what am I going to do? And they're consumed with that. But people who are and who have a successful mentality, they looking at, oh, okay, how can I capitalize? How can I take advantage? Okay, this stuff is going to go down to a cheaper price in the market. Maybe I need to buy more stock at this price. And then over time, it'll be like they thinking how you and Gary were thinking. Wow.
Absolutely. Yep.
So Gary, God. Dang, Gary.
Yeah. So that's how
y'all got into real estate.
We got into real estate. Yeah, we got into real estate. And then when we got stable on there, and then let me just say this. I posted something on my personal page the other day, and it said, when you risk nothing, you risk everything. You know what I mean? And what that spoke to me is just like, you have to take smart risk in life. You know what I mean? If it makes sense and you can see the numbers, even if it's a situation where you break even and you're not losing, even if you could break even or make or better, take the risk. You know what I mean? Because
say that quote again.
if you risk nothing, you risk everything. You know what I mean? And that just spoke so many volumes to me, because you have to in life take smart risks, because you'll be surprised, especially if it's what you feel in your heart that you're destined to do and destined to be. That's the story of my life. You know what I mean? Because it's taking risks. Because I've had business. Now the more risk you take, you may have some wins and you may have some losses, but a lot of times, and especially in my case, my wins have been so much greater than my losses, because I had a store over in Michigan Avenue, and that demographic over there just really wasn't the trendy type of dressers that we have at my other locations, and I didn't realize that. You know what I mean? So that was a business that I had that failed. You know what I mean?
But you learned.
But I learned, and I definitely learned a lot. It was a learning experience. So it really wasn't. It was an L, but it was an L of learning. You know what I mean? So it wasn't.
Hold on.
Yes.
It was an L, but it was an L of learning, not
you know
a
what
loss.
I mean? Not a loss. You know what I mean? And
Perspective.
that's what it taught me. Okay, so you have to be a little more strategic. You have to do this. You have to, I just learned a lot from that whole experience. You know what I mean? And that was really shaped me into learning just more. And then I started getting into really boosting the store that I have now.
Well,
that.
You opened that store up first, the one in Livonia.
Yeah, Livonia's
right?
that's the baby.
So did the real estate stuff kind of, I guess, did it play a part in you being able to?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I kind of skipped over that.
No, that's
so
fine.
the real estate. From the real estate, I'll never forget the conversation me and my husband had one day. He was sitting on the getting dressed, and I was sitting on the steps, and he was like, well, what are we gonna do next? And I'm like, and I'm like, okay, so what so we're trying to brainstorm. He's like, well, let's do a car wash. I said, no. I said, I barely wash my own car. I'm not
I gotta believe in it.
I'm not about to wash other people's car, because I don't even wash my own car. You know what I mean? So that's not gonna work. And he was like, man, well, you really good at selling stuff. Why don't you open up a store? Open up a boutique.
Just stop one second. So your husband, y'all motivate each other like that?
Yeah, we do.
Bringing the best out of each other?
We do. We always ask what's next. Like when we had us being comfortable is uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Because it's like we gotta have something going on, you know what I mean? To this day, we preparing for the future. Yeah. And then I always make the joke. I said, my son, I feel like he'll roll me into Shady Pines when I get older and time to retire. I said, I gotta have my own retirement. They say a daughter is a daughter for life, but a son is a son till he find his wife.
I'm so happy I had a daughter, because I know like she gonna look out. Your son, you'll be wiping you'll be on the floor with your own feces.
I gotta have my retirement together, because my son, I can't put it in his hands. You know what I mean? Because I know it won't get done right.
No offense.
Son. He'll do the best he can, but the best he can ain't gonna meet my standards.
But women are innately more nurturing, so it's not just a knock to his character, but it's just
it's just what it is. You know what I mean? And I just want to have my own retirement planned out and all that stuff before I let him have anything to do with it. So that's why I got to grind right now. Why I got 2 arms, 2 legs, moving. I'm young enough to get it moving, grooving, do what I need to do. I'm gonna just go ahead and have my stuff the way I want it.
But you're talking, it's like you're a part of this relationship, but you also still have a certain sense of independence too.
Yes.
Because a lot of people might say, oh, well, my husband gonna do it. He gonna take care of me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but when you take that approach that you're taking, and if he has that mentality, then y'all both are even way better than you ever could imagine once you look up, 30 years from now.
Absolutely.
So, okay, your husband say, well, what you gonna do, blah, blah, blah. You good at selling stuff, blah, and then it just hits you. Damn, I've been working in retail my whole life.
Whole life. And so he said, well, let's start. Just get your find a location. So I found the location. And when I found the location, it just
yourself, or did you hire somebody else to help you?
I'm from the ground up. Everything we got, everything we did, we learned trial and error. So I wanted to find my own space, because I knew the area that I wanted to be in, and I knew who I wanted to cater to.
You had the vision already.
I had the vision already. It was just finding the space. So when I found the space, we found the space, and then went from there. Like I started to travel to New York and LA, as you know, and started just getting ready getting ready, finding
So that was at the
stuff
beginning. Okay.
Yeah.
Short story, y'all.
Yeah.
When I was living in LA from 2009 all the way up to 2018, and Teresa, she hit me up.
Yes.
You know, she like, hey, I'm gonna be in LA. She ain't really giving me a lot of details, right? So she like, hey, I'm gonna be in LA.
Yes.
You mind if I stay the night? I'm like,
Yes.
you good? You ain't in trouble, right?
Yeah.
You know, she like, no, I'm out there on business. I'm on business. I mean, what kind of business? You know, I'm doing my thing.
Right.
You know, so then, you know, you come out. I think the first time you came out, you might have stayed a couple of nights, right?
Yeah.
And you left the house, you was gone all day.
Yes.
And then you come back, and I'm like, hey, Teresa, how was it out there? You know, I'm trying to fish for stuff. Oh, you know, man, I'm just, you know, moving and shaking, you know, talking a bit. And I'm like, man, she about to get me hit with a Rico. Like, Teresa, you ain't say. Hey, her furniture is cocaine white. We gonna get to that, y'all. Anybody that got white furniture, you know they killing the game, right? But anyway, let me get back to the story. So I'm like, I don't know what Teresa coming out here for. Is she like, you know, she doing? Is it legal? Either way it go, you eventually told me that you were coming out there to find merchandise, clothing, right? Mm-hmm. And then you were buying it wholesale. I'm assuming, right? How was that process, and how did you even get these connects in, you said New York and LA, and how did you go through getting that? Because that's the hard part, right?
Yeah, I researched it on a computer, but first of all, let me say shout out to Dave, because Dave really looked out for me when I would go out to California, because, you know, sometimes when you get to anywhere traveling and you get to your destination and it's 11 to 12 o'clock at night, you're like, man, I gotta buy a hotel. I'm only gonna be here for like 5 or 6 hours. So Dave was like not too far from where I was gonna be. So shout out to you and Bridget. Y'all show so much love. Like, y'all helped the grind. You know what I mean? Because that's when I was first starting. So I really didn't know the ins and outs. So Dave and his wife, beautiful wife Bridget, opened their home to me, because, you know, me and Dave grew up, so I knew I was familiar. So I wasn't staying with no strangers, y'all. Me and Dave grew up, and he would help me do my grinding time, because I still, even though me and my husband was working on houses, he still got bills. So we were still, you know, from the ground up, you know what I mean? We were still learning, trial and error, and wasting money and spending money, and, you know, trying to figure things out. So definitely got to shout out you and Bridget for that.
I can't take all the credit. I'm helping out a rich person. So it's not like I'm helping somebody. I knew it was in my best interest.
Not even.
I knew it. No, listen, because it makes it easier when you helping somebody who's helping themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. It makes it a lot easier.
Like, all I gotta do is provide a place for you to lay your head. Like, that's nothing. You out there grinding.
Yeah, grinding. It was full grinding. To this day, believe it or not, I've been to California at least 20 to 30 times, and I have never seen California, because I go straight to work and I leave. Yeah, I go to work and leave. So all the other stuff, like, I never seen like all the tourist stuff. Most I've ever done is went to like a dinner out in Rodeo Drive or something like that. But other than that, it's a straight grind trip for me. So
how do you go about picking what type of, you know, clothes to buy?
It's so funny.
Like, 'cause I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
let me tell you that. It is such an outer body experience. And what I mean by that is, like, when I'm in California, my phone doesn't ring. Like, my family knows not to call me. My friends know not to call me. Like, and what it's like, I have all my customers in my head. It's really weird. That's why I know this is my purpose.
Wait, hold on 1 second. So when you out there, the customers you have, you already thinking about what they like.
I already know what Tiffany gonna wear. I already know what Tammy's gonna wear. I already know what Tracy's gonna wear. And these are some of my actual customers. So I know their style. So that's why I don't like to be interrupted when I'm there, because I have all of my customers in my head, and I'm like, okay, she gonna wear this. She not gonna wear this. This customer, this a dude. You know what I mean? Like, I know style. So certain styles that you see other boutiques have, I won't get it, because either if a lot of boutiques have it, I won't get it, or if it's not my customer, I'm not gonna get it. Like, I know I've been doing this for 10 years, almost 11 years now. So I know my customer base, and that's very important. Anytime you're going into business and you're selling, you need to know who you're selling to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's a waste of time to buy merchandise that's not gonna sell if your customer is not gonna wear that. You know, or buy that or whatever. So I know my customer base. So by me knowing my customer base, it's like I call it like an outer body experience, because I don't even think about myself. You know what I mean? I don't even think about what I like. I think about what my customers like. Wow. And so when doing that, it has to be total focus, no interruptions, just fully grind.
So you're really passionate about that, because when people come in and they try on stuff and they maybe got an event they're going to that
Yeah.
night, it makes them feel a certain way, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you're largely responsible for that feeling that
Yes,
they get, that feeling
yes.
of confidence and feeling beautiful.
Absolutely.
No matter how big or small they are.
Absolutely. And I cater to the it girl. I get pieces that when you walk in a room, men and women are going to ask you where you got that from. You know what I mean? Like I talk about that during my lives, how, you know, hey, listen, if you like a plain girl, that's probably not the spot for you, because I'm the girl when you walk in a room, it's all eyes on me. You know what I mean? Period. And that's what I cater to, is those girls who like to show up.
Not the ones who want to just kind of be in the background.
No, if you want to be in the corner, not so much. We have a few things for you, but when you walk in the room, every woman, I believe majority of the women population want to feel like the girl when they walk into the room. I always tell people, like, listen, you may outdo the birthday girl. You may want to be careful, because when you show up, you may outdress the birthday girl. You know what I mean? So that's what I cater into, and just make it. I really, really love to make women feel beautiful. I love dressing women more than I love dressing myself. You know what I mean? So it's definitely what I believe my passion is, and what I was called. I can't see myself doing anything else. Now that I've been doing it, I can't see myself doing anything else.
And it makes sense that you selling stuff where you gonna be the it girl. I'm looking at the chain you got on.
Oh my God.
And the temperature just dropped 30 degrees.
Oh my God, Dave is
I feel like I'm sitting on a glacier right now, y'all.
You know what, Dave? I actually got this for myself when we had our 10-year anniversary. It was like a
hold on.
10-year anniversary.
Hold on. So just imagine how much money she has now if she bought that. If she bought this cash money millionaire chain.
I'm not hardly. It's a straight up grab. But this was when the store turned 10. I was like, I got to get myself something. You got to get yourself something.
10-year anniversary for the store.
Yeah.
So how long has it been in business now?
So this would be 11. This coming out.
Okay, I thought you were saying 10-year relationship.
No, this was a 10-year for the store. So I had to get. It was a huge accomplishment.
Because you survived. I mean, COVID, all of these things.
COVID, recession, because I opened right in the middle, and people thought I was crazy when I opened during the recession, because I was right in the midst of all that. You know what I mean? So,
but no matter what's happening, people want to look good.
Yeah, exactly. I had used the money I saved from my unemployment checks to buy inventory. So, you know what I mean? So it was straight up recession. Yes, absolutely.
So you was using the checks.
Yeah, the checks.
So some people, they do the whole unemployment and they like, well, I'll just sit here and live off this and wait until something. No,
I was using unemployment checks to buy inventory. Yeah. So it was right in the midst of all that. So
they say that when you have like, if you're trying to figure out what it is you're supposed to be doing in life, it has to be something that, it keeps you up at night in a good way. It has to be something that you would do, even if you wasn't making money, right? And then the second thing, it has to be something that you show signs of being able to improve at.
Yes.
And you've been improving year after year after year. And when you just talked about how you go in and you got your customers in mind and you dressing them, it's like that's some Rain Man type shit right there. So this is clearly a part of your purpose. This is your purpose.
This is my purpose for sure, without a doubt. Wow. And I'm so grateful that I get to live in that, because I know so many people that's still trying to figure out their purpose, and I just give all glory to God, because I know I can feel it in my heart in the way I know it's just, I know it's my purpose for sure. For sure.
So damn. So this is just crazy. So the business that you had that was off of, you said Woodward or something like that?
No, it was on Michigan Avenue.
Michigan. So somewhere near downtown.
Nope. This one was actually in Wayne, because Michigan Avenue runs deep. That can take you all the way to Chicago. So I was in Wayne, Michigan.
Look, I don't know shit. I'm East Side. East side.
I was in Wayne, Michigan.
Wayne, Michigan.
Wayne.
So when you look back on that, what would be some things that you would have done differently?
The biggest thing I think with that one was location. The location got me, because the inventory was great. The inventory was the same inventory I got on my, I would double up inventory. So I knew it wasn't the inventory, but the location is everything. Like if you're thinking about opening a business, make sure your location is what you need it to be, because the demographic, they just weren't really trendy girls over there. So I didn't get a lot of those girls. And then the parking wasn't the greatest. So now that I look back, I'm like, I should have really reconsidered some things.
But it ain't a loss. It's a
lesson. It's a lesson.
You said learn it.
Learn it.
But that's good too.
Yes.
So the L is not a loss. Based on your perspective, it can either be a lesson or you're learning something.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely a perspective.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
for sure.
Okay, so wow. So this is just hearing this story, because I knew a lot of it.
Yeah.
but I didn't know all of it. And you talk about being an entrepreneur.
Yes.
You talk about being a mother. You talk
Yes.
about being, a wife. It's
Yeah.
similar to when my discussion with Mia Ray. Like, how do you balance? That's the question. How do you balance all three of these things?
Well,
how have you balanced it? Because now your son about to be out the house.
Now it's like I plan on totally throwing myself into my work now. But before then, just knowing how to balance throughout the day, like, okay, always having help too. That's important. You know what I mean? Having help at the store. So, okay, I can work these many hours. I can go home and cook dinner. You know what I mean? Like, you just have to pre-plan. It's a lot of pre-planning when you have to run a house and in a business. You have to like kind of have like things, and sometimes things don't always work as planned, but at least you have something to go off of is what really helped me balance, you know. And then my husband and my son are super patient. You know what I mean? They don't put too much pressure on me, especially if they see I'm working or doing something major. They pretty good at being self-sufficient. They'll be self-sufficient. So that's a big blessing too.
I got you. Has there been any moments throughout this 11 years where you've had your own business where you in your mind were like, I can't do this anymore?
Yeah, well, you know what? It actually started in the beginning. To make a long story short, I don't even think I ever told you.
No, I need to hear this. Don't make the long story long.
Long story short.
Yeah.
So it was my first time going to LA. I don't think I even contacted you about this.
Me? Okay.
But I went to LA on a buddy pass. Okay, because I don't have really money like that to be buying tickets. Okay, my friend, my cousin works for Delta. She like, okay, I can get you on the buddy pass.
Shout out to her cousin.
Yes, cousin Toy. So I go to LA on the buddy pass or whatever. Everything going great, everything going smooth. And my last day there, probably about an hour before I'm leaving for the airport, I get pickpocketed.
Wait,
okay?
What?
I get pickpocketed. Like my purse, my wallet is out of my purse. Somebody done walked past me and swooped my wallet out of my purse. Because if you ever been to the Fashion District, it's right around the corner from Skid Row. Like literally, Fashion District, Skid Row, next block over. So it was kind of risky over there in that area. And so I got pickpocketed an hour before my flight left. So that means no ID, no money, no card, no nothing. Okay, I'm nothing. So I went to the last vendor I bought from. I said, hey, listen, I just got pickpocketed. I don't have my wallet or anything. Can you give me $40 to give to the airport? I promise you when I get home, I'll send you the money back. You know what I mean? So luckily he was generous, gave me the $40. I get to the airport. Of course, I don't have no ID. How the heck I'm going to get on this flight or whatever? Now, mind you, I'm still on the buddy pass too. So I get to the airport and they like, okay, you don't have your ID. What's your name? Blah, blah, blah. They told me more about me than I knew about myself. They like, who your father? Where you live?
Wow.
So once I identified myself, they let me go past security. So I get to, now mind you, I got a bag in my hand though this whole time. Handles break on the bag. So listen, this is the honest to my family, they can tell you this. I'm carrying my bag like this. Okay, so I'm walking in the airport. My hair sweated out. Looked like my 2-year-old niece done hooked my hair up. Okay, my hair toe up. Okay, so I'm in the airport, ponytail to the side, no handle on my bag. So I'm walking through. So get to my plane full. Not another flight leaving for Detroit to the next day in the afternoon.
God.
Okay, I'm on a buddy pass. So what I'm gonna do? I even telling this story, it makes me so emotional because it was like when I was just like, I can't do this. You know what I mean? And so I sat there and I couldn't do nothing but cry. I felt so defeated because I'm like, I can't get home. And so this man, he seen me. It wasn't nothing but God because this man seen me crying. He worked for Delta. He said, listen, I can't get you to Detroit, but I can get you out of here to try to get you to Detroit. So he goes looking. He said, I'm going to send you to Vegas and you just going to have to try from there. I said, my God. Okay.
Oh my God.
I don't have, now mind you, I have money, but I don't have money because I don't have my money with me. Okay. So money's in the bank,
all your stuff
but
is gone,
all of my stuff is gone. So I sit there.
You in an airport crying.
I'm in the airport crying. No, nothing.
No shame in your game. Everybody
nothing.
sees this. Okay.
Everybody sees it. No, I'm defeated at this point because I don't have, my bag is in my hand. My handle's broke. My hair ponytail to the side. I'm sweated out. Okay. I'm a mess. Okay. I am a mess. And he sends me to Vegas. I get to Vegas. I'm like, I'm in Vegas. Like, I'm literally in Vegas. So from Vegas, it was like a flight leaving like 4 or 5 hours to Detroit. So I'm sitting there. By this time, I'm hungry. Now the flight attendant, it wasn't nothing but guy had me through the whole process. She hears me. You know how the ladies work at the desk at the airport. She hears me on the phone telling my family, like, crying and telling them I don't have any money. I'm getting hungry. You know, I don't have it. So she comes over to me. She said, "Listen, this is $10. Go get you something to eat or something." I'm like, how can I pay? I'm like, all of these people are helping me, and there's no way I can pay them back. Like, I don't have anything, you know. So anyway, I get back to, you know, the flight finally comes and I get back home. But then I was just ready to throw in the towel. I'm like, this is just, I ain't never going to LA again. I'm never going to be able to go. I'm gonna be able to just order online. I'm gonna have everything. Everything everybody else have. But when that inventory, now mind you, I have inventory coming back and getting flown back. But when that inventory came and everything made it all worthwhile, it was just like, wow. I can't give up. I just got to make better decisions. No more buddy passes. No more. You know, you just learn. It was a learning lesson for me. But at that point, I felt like giving up because I'm like, I can't do this. And I can't do this.
All of these people. Let's call them like God's angels.
Yes, God's angel. He was just walking me. That's why another reason why I'm like, I can never give up, because God has always had people lined up for me. You know what I mean? And just always have taken care of me where things that should have been wrong. Because what if that man would have never cared and just seen me crying? I would have been in that airport
to the next day,
to the next evening. And then at that point, it was like 4 or 5 o'clock. So I would have been there all day by myself. No, I don't have any money. I can't go to the hotel.
No food.
No food. I don't have anything. In LA, it's cold out there. You know that.
Shit, yeah.
They ain't nobody gonna say, let me help. I was surprised he
This ain't the South. This is LA.
It's run to get ran over out in LA. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
kill or be killed.
Yeah, kill or be killed. You know what I'm saying? So that was one of the biggest lessons that I learned, and just perseverance. You know what I mean? How important perseverance, even though things happen. If you get knocked down, what they say, get knocked down 9, get up 10. You know what I mean? That really taught me, that was a lesson for me. Especially, I think it was perfect that it happened in the beginning too, because it really taught me how to persevere in business. You understand what I'm saying? How to persevere in business.
So it was almost like you needed to go
I needed that.
Because because I'm sure even since that was early in the business, you've had a lot more challenges.
Oh,
but then
absolutely.
If you think back at that day, you're like, oh, this ain't nothing.
Everything. Listen, being out in LA with no money, okay, looking homeless, I can do anything. You know what I mean? And that was God's way of it was a humbling experience that I needed.
And that was God's way of telling you.
It was God's way of showing me how strong I can be, and that I can get through some of the most trying obstacles that I will face in the years to come, for sure. Absolutely. Because that was one of the, you see, I get even emotional talking about it, because it was one of the harshest days in reality of my life. You know what I mean? Because I was just I was scared to the core, where I was shaking, scared.
And not only that, like, it's different. I've known people that have suffered, right? Maybe over the course of a couple of months, but it's not happening constantly. It's like, oh, maybe, okay, something happens this week, something happens next week, and you got time between each thing. But you're talking about 24 hours of just
hours of
constant.
And then not to mention that flight that was leaving out the 7 o'clock the next day, it wasn't a guarantee that I was going to get on that flight either, because that flight was looking pretty full too. Was what the not so helpful flight attendant. Yeah, you're probably not going to get on that one either.
Wow.
And just left me there.
So you have forces working against you, but thank God the forces that were working for you, they were much greater.
Much greater. So that was
That's an incredible story.
Yeah, it is, and I'm just grateful that I went through that. At the time, I'm like, God, what you doing? But I'm grateful that I went through.
Because you don't understand when you're going.
You don't understand, because it was just, I mean, my handles. As soon as I got to the airport, my handles on my bag. I'm walking through the airport like this. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't have no handles on my bag. My ponytail about to fall out my head. You know what I'm saying? This whole head hold on by the thread. You know what I mean? So I'm looking and nobody could do. I called my husband. What he gonna do? He couldn't do anything.
Couldn't do nothing.
Nobody could do anything. It was just in a space of total helplessness. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, Yeah, for sure.
I
That
mean,
was
it
one of the
reminds
toughest
me of the
times, for
story.
sure.
I don't know much about
Yeah.
the Bible, so I might butcher this, but it
Yeah.
reminds me of just Christ and when he was in the desert and
Yes.
he was tempted. You know, he was hungry, you know, hadn't drunk anything,
Yeah.
you know, and Satan just kept
Yes.
tempting him,
Yes.
but he prevailed.
Prevail.
And as a result of him prevailing
Yes.
in that moment,
Yes.
you know, he ultimately
Absolutely.
went on to save us, right? So it's like if you
believe
don't
that.
go
Yeah,
through this, you don't get to
and
that
that's
point.
what I always
Yeah.
believe. Like it's always greater later. You know what I mean? Like you go through stuff and
It either
and
kills you or
shape,
make you stronger.
Yeah, and just through life, just think about all different trials I've had. It always have shaped me. It always have shaped me. So if you're going through something, let me just say that know that God is using it to shape you, to make you stronger, to make you see, you know, all things are possible. Anything is possible. You know what I mean? And that's what, you know, so if you're going through a storm, definitely know it's purpose behind your storm. I haven't been through a storm yet that it wasn't purpose behind it. And that's just been my
That's
life
powerful.
story. You know what I mean?
That's
That's been my
powerful.
life story. So
what
definitely.
what are your, and you know, I know you probably can't tell us everything, but what are your plans, I say, over the next 2 years? What are some of the things that you're embarking on or that's in work right now?
Definitely, my second passion is real estate. So that's like one of my big things too. So just building my real estate portfolio, working on that, and then as far as my business, my store, just growing and getting bigger and better. Really focusing in on my marketing, because I get a lot of my customers, they're not even on social media. You know what I mean? Like majority of my customers, I would say probably about 70% of my customers probably aren't even on social media. We give good customer service at my store, so that's what kids. And then you get good customer service, affordable prices, and different pieces is what we stand on. So with all that rolled up, as I'm sure, because I was around before even Instagram even came. You know, when my store opened, I remember a customer said, you need to go on Instagram. I'm like, what is Instagram? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we was already, you know, doing good with showing, you know, profits and everything like that. So
just groundwork.
Yeah,
you know
just
what I'm saying?
groundwork.
Yep.
Just giving good customer service. That goes a long way. You know what I mean? So but now I really want to focus in on marketing, getting that web online e-commerce stuff going and really focusing in on that, because we have the store. It's pretty much doing what it needs to do. So we want to really just tackle in on e-commerce and making sure, you know, our online customers out of state, which it does pretty good now, but I need to do a little better. So that's gonna be my focus going forward, is really working on
always
those.
Can improve. Always room for
Absolutely,
improvement.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I told my, listen, man, you know, the one thing that I say I don't like, right? She does a live every Friday.
Yeah.
Fridays. And it's a live where she'll have a model put on stuff, and then you even reference what number it is on a website where they can go look at it, and it's really sophisticated in terms of how you go about doing it.
Yeah.
And every time I just pop in there, I see my mama in there, and I'm like, Mama, you gotta pay. You gonna have to be able to pay your mortgage. Stop shopping.
Absolutely.
So, but my mama loves your
and your
store.
mom is so trendy, because I cater from women from age 20 to like 60. You know what I mean? Like,
my mom be looking fly.
Yeah, your mom be looking fly. Okay, every time I see her, she looks so cute, and that's what I try to have, a wide, you know, variety for everybody. So, you know, just what I consider ourselves to cater to is the grown and sexy. You know, we cater to the grown and sexy. You know, and that's what it is. So
that's part. I mean, part of the reason why I wanted you on the show, number one, is because, you know, just seeing your trajectory. Every now and then, y'all, I'll just send Teresa a text, like an empty bubble. You know, because when you see somebody just constantly going up like that, you just want to make sure that they still remember you. And I'm like, okay, as soon as you text back, I'll be like, okay, Bridget, she ain't forgot about me. You know what I'm saying? So it's seeing your trajectory has been so motivational for me.
Thank you.
Just seeing how passionate you are. I can come and I can buy stuff from the store for Bridget, and you'll follow up and be like, hey, how does she like it?
Absolutely.
How does it look on her? Right? And then the other thing, the stuff that you do that people don't know about. My mama has a nonprofit business, Young Women with Purpose, and she'll, you know, she reached out to you. I'm like, Mama, don't bother Teresa. Teresa busy.
It wasn't a bother at all.
I was like, she busy.
Not a bother.
She reached out to you and asked, was there any clothes that you had that you could donate to these young girls from impoverished communities who don't grow up with much, so that they can have, right? And Teresa with no problem. Come up.
Absolutely.
I got a bunch of stuff for you. And don't care about taking credit. She don't care about it being promoted on none of that stuff. So your heart is your heart combined with your drive and your ability to put so many of your family members
Yes,
on and put them in better positions.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's the reason why I had you on, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, man.
Of course, anytime, Dave. This has been such an honor.
Straight up.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. I appreciate you having me on, and I hope someone has taken something positive from this interview and hopefully can apply it to their lives, but never give up. As always, remember the main thing I would say is, if you risk nothing, you risk everything, and just keep that. Sometimes it may feel like you may be a little shaky on decisions, but if it makes sense and you pray about it and you feel God led, most importantly, feeling God led, do it. Just do it.
Beautiful, man.
Do it.
Where can people find you on social media?
Okay, so I am Ambitions Boutique. Okay, so that's going to be on Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. Our app is bomb. Okay, if you like to shop, our app is Shop Ambition. So I'll spell it out: ShopAmbitions. Okay, not OUS. Everybody sometimes get mixed up. Ambitions with the N. So ShopAmbitions. If you put that in your Google Play Store or your App Store, it'll pull us up. You get all kind of savings. That's where Dave mom shops. So she gets all kind of savings, free shipping, all that good stuff on our app. And then our Instagram and Facebook is Ambitions Boutique. So Ambitions Boutique, Boutiquee. You can find us there, and it's just an amazing shopping experience. If you're looking for good customer service,
absolutely,
great prices, and of course, different pieces consist. I am hopping on that plane to make sure that you get those different pieces. I go by myself. Okay, damn. I go by myself to New York, LA, Atlanta.
With the customer in mind. It's not your ego.
No,
it's the customer in mind.
Nope. I'm shopping for you. Okay, so definitely come and check us out. Absolutely.
All right, y'all. Listen, I guess we can end this conversation. Yes. And we should end it because I'm going to ask Teresa for a loan to fund conversations with TinBridge. And that's tacky to do it on camera, right. Y'all. So yeah, I think we can end it right now, man.
Yeah.
Conversations with TinBridge.
Yes.
Teresa, y'all.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Thank you, Teresa.
Yes. All right.